Hey everybody, welcome back to Vegas Weekly for Saturday, February 25th, 2022. It's the final episode of our Vegas 101 series. We're going to be talking about entertainment. That's coming up in just a minute. First, just a couple of quick housekeeping notes. First, I want to thank everybody who joined me on Wednesday night for our Wednesday live series. And I want to particularly thank my friends Tom and Mindy for joining me and talking a little bit about their channel. It was a very entertaining interview, so I hope you'll check that out, and I hope you'll check out their channel. I'll put a link to it in the show notes below. This Wednesday will be the 500th episode of Vegas Tips and Tricks, if we count all the little lives and rumor tours and everything like that. So we'll try to do something interesting or special. I don't know if we'll go to the car wash. Maybe we'll go get some auto parts at O'Reilly or, something like that, or go to the casino, or I don't know. We'll find something different and we'll share it with you coming up in just a couple of days. Okay, so we're going to talk about entertainment today. And I've started this video about 20 times because for whatever reason it seems like it's kind of difficult for me to really explain what it is that makes Las Vegas magical. Some people have referred to the city as the entertainment capital of the world. And there's some amazing shows. And we'll mention some of those in passing a little bit later on in the video. There's a lot of natural attractions in the Las Vegas area if you want to rent a car and venture out for a day. But, I think probably the biggest attraction in Las Vegas is Las Vegas. If you've never visited before, that first glance at the Las Vegas Strip, preferably at night when it's all lit up, is got to be one of the most awe-inspiring sights you'll find anywhere really in the world. And you can easily spend a day or more simply wandering up and down the Strip and taking in all the sights. It's pretty amazing. I mean, you've got a pyramid, a castle, you've got the Eiffel Tower, you've got the New York City skyline, you've got Rome and Venice and, Lake Como. It's just everywhere you look, there's just something that's like totally off the wall and crazy, but it all kind of works. But it's more than just the city and the sights of the buildings, but the people you see. The people watching is priceless in Las Vegas. And there's some nice spots you can kind of find where you can kind of just sit and check people out. I think about downtown, for example, Binion's has a sort of rotating bar called Whiskey Liquor Up. And you can wander up there, you can get a drink and, some snacks if you want. It's not unreasonably priced. And just check out the activity down on Fremont Street. If you go to the Planet Hollywood area there by the Miracle Mile shops, and I've mentioned that before, there's a couple of sort of bars, restaurants, I think like the PBR Rock Bar is an example, where you can kind of sit outside and again, you can kind of watch the people go by. And it's a sight to see. You can have breakfast at Mon Ami Gabi at the Paris and sit outside with a view of the Strip and all the characters that come by. But no matter where you go, what you do, just pay attention to the buildings around you, the city, and the people that you see. And again, that'll be, for a first trip, probably your biggest attraction. Now, there are a number of traditional sort of free attractions that people talk about. Go to the Bellagio, check out the Bellagio fountains. It's amazing. If you go like the first show of the day, they have, it's usually Whitney Houston sings the national anthem. And then it goes right into Time to Say Goodbye by Andrea Bocelli and Sarah Brightman. And, there's a little bit of Italian opera thing kind of going on there. Very beautiful, real tearjerker. But there's like show tunes and pop and rock and, jazz and all kinds of music that is used to accompany these dancing waters. And it's really something to see. Now, for some people, you may see it once or twice and think that's fine. But there's folks that go back every trip, multiple times a trip, just to check it out. You can also wander through the Bellagio Conservatory. I believe it's 5 times a year they change it out. It's kind of like the Rose Bowl parade. Everything's made out of flowers. And it's an extraordinary accomplishment, such detail. I mean, I can't imagine the number of people that must work on this. I think right now, in the early part of spring, late winter, it's the Chinese New Year. But, sometimes it'll be a holiday theme, spring, summer, that sort of thing. So definitely worth checking out. And on your way, you can walk through the beautiful Bellagio lobby, and there's a Dale Chihuly glass sculpture that's on the ceiling. Also very much worth checking out if you're in the area. And if you exit out the backside of the conservatory there, you'll see a chocolate fountain, which also is supposedly the biggest in the world. I don't know. Looks pretty tasty. Another traditional favorite in the free attractions category would be the Mirage Volcano. We don't know how long that's going to last because there definitely are some changes coming to the Mirage. But if you're visiting Las Vegas anytime soon, check it out. It's usually in the evening hours, 7, 8, 9, 10 o'clock, somewhere around those times. But check with the folks at the Mirage. As with the Bellagio fountain, sometimes high winds or inclement weather can interfere with the shows, but it's definitely worth checking out. And then go downtown for the big light show on the Fremont Street Experience. I don't know what they're calling it these days, but it's that big light show in the sky. And the latest incarnation is really high definition. There's actually a sort of light show going on all day long. But in the evenings, again, they have shows that are set to mostly, popular music. So definitely worth checking out. Again, like the fountains, it may be one of those things you need to see it once or twice. Others may just be mesmerized by it and spend a whole evening wandering in and out of the casinos and checking out the shows. There's also free concerts downtown, usually every night of the week. They tend to be really packed on the weekend. It's usually sort of cover bands. Once in a while, like during the summer months, you will have some known artists, although typically they're a little past their prime, but still, it's free. So one thing you absolutely have to do when you go to Vegas, in my opinion, is go somewhere where you can get an awesome view of the city. Now, there's some bars, actually. There's a bar at the top of Mandalay Bay. I believe that one is the Foundation Room. There's also one at the top of the Delano, the tower next to Mandalay Bay. There's a pretty cool bar inside the Waldorf Astoria Hotel, which is right in the city center area. Now, for the price basically of a pretty pricey cocktail, you can check out those places, and they have an amazing view of the Strip. But I'd say check out one of 3 paid attractions, depending upon who you are, to get kind of a fun Vegas feel and a great view along the way. One is to check out the Strat, that big tower way at the north end of the Strip. Even if you're not staying up there, it's definitely worth a visit. Go up in what they now call the Sky Pod. Now, if you're really brave, there's a number of thrill rides up there, but it's like 1,100 feet, so might be a little too thrilling for some of us. But if nothing else, it's an amazing view of the entire city. It's the highest observation tower west of the Mississippi, so definitely something to see. You do get more of an overall view of the entire city and not quite so much of just the Strip, but definitely worth doing at least once. If you don't want to travel quite that far, you can go up in the Eiffel Tower. Well, you can't go all the way to the top. You go about half to 2/3 of the way up, but it gives you a pretty good view of the center Strip area. If the Bellagio fountains happen to be going off, you can see it from there, so that's kind of cool. You do have to kind of see everything through a metal railing grate of sorts. So I didn't like that part. It's also a little crowded, but it's another option. My personal favorite of late is the High Roller. That's that Ferris wheel-like thing. I believe it may still be the highest observation wheel in the world, but that's going to change. But it's high enough. And I think it gives you a really cool experience in addition to getting a great view of the city. Now, you do kind of get more of a look at the backside of the Strip, but you can still see for miles and miles, as the Who would say, and I think it's really kind of cool. I think it takes like 30 minutes to go around in that thing, and it may look a little scary, but you don't even really feel it moving. So if you want to feel a little bit brave and not really be that brave, it's definitely worth checking out. Probably the best view in the city, if you want to pay for a room with a view, is at the Cosmopolitan. They have those rooms with the terraces, some of which look out on like the airport in the south part of the Strip. The most desirable ones, of course, looking out also over the Bellagio fountains. So that's an option as well. And you can just have your breakfast out there. If you want to get away from the city, and maybe you will after a couple of days, renting a car and checking out some of the surrounding attractions is definitely worthwhile. I don't recommend the Grand Canyon. It's just a bit too far away, and I think it deserves more than an afternoon. That being said, there are a number of attractions that are within an hour or so of the city. Perhaps the most well-known would be the Hoover Dam, which is, like I said, maybe about 45 minutes away. One of the modern wonders of the world. It's extraordinary. Definitely worth seeing if you haven't. Also, the little city of Boulder City that's right next there is kind of a real cool, quaint little spot. Maybe grab some lunch or dinner there along the way. Another attraction very close to the city worth checking out is Red Rock Canyon. It's located in the northwest part of the city, an area known as Summerlin, a very upscale community. There's some cool casinos there, the Red Rock Hotel and Casino, the Sun Coast. So there's some attractions there. There's a lot of shopping and restaurants and things. But Red Rock Canyon is a beautiful area. You can drive through that, and again, probably in about an hour, possibly less. It's very inexpensive. It's really an extraordinary piece of desert scenery. And there's something about it. I mean, as you're driving out towards Red Rock Canyon, it's almost like the city just disappears. And maybe after a bad session at the tables, you need that. Also out in that area is Mount Charleston, the tallest peak in the area. In the wintertime, it gets snow. Okay, there's actually skiing up there. So it'll definitely be cooler. So that could be a fun side trip if you happen to visit during the heat of the winter. There's so many other attractions, but those are just a couple, I think, worth your while. Finally, a few words about the Las Vegas show. It's one of those things you hear about, something your parents or your grandparents may have talked about. Well, first off, the traditional Las Vegas show with showgirls and variety acts is pretty much gone. Has been for a number of years, but there's a tremendous number of entertainment options up and down the Strip. You still have your magicians, your illusionists, comedy performers, the Cirque du Soleil empire, which runs all across the Strip. We'll talk about it briefly again in a minute, and a tremendous number of headliners that are doing what are called residencies in Las Vegas, which is a series of concerts over a period of time. Sometimes it's just a few months, sometimes it'll be years. Celine Dion did shows in Vegas for off and on for like 10 years or more. So it can be a long-term project. It's maybe a great way to see a performer that you enjoy. Like, for example, right now you have like Lady Gaga and Katy Perry, for example, are two performers on the Strip. But those headliners and residents change pretty frequently. But definitely check that out, and you may be able to find a performer that you want to see. Now, there's a bit of sticker shock with most Las Vegas shows. I mean, $100 is nothing. And that may not even be a high-end seat at a good show. But a word about good shows. A lot of people talk about the Cirque du Soleil. It's definitely something to see. It's an extraordinary sort of athletic, artistic performance. If you've not seen anything like it before, I'd probably recommend the Mystère show or maybe O at Bellagio. If you're a big fan of the Beatles, though, there's also a show called Love that's based on the music of the Beatles. So that probably would be the best choice there. But don't prejudge any Las Vegas show. There's a tremendous amount of talent in the city, and even some of the smaller shows can turn out to be a real gem. So, if you can't necessarily afford the big money to go see the big-time performer or the Cirque du Soleil show, check out one of the half-price ticket booths up and down the Strip. I think there's probably only about 3 or 4, but you can get a good deal. And you'd be surprised sometimes at the shows that you can see. I remember seeing like Mac King, who now appears at Excalibur. I got a ticket to that for free. That was hilarious. And I saw like a illusionist in a show called Paranormal a couple of years ago. I was just blown away by it. So, and again, I would never have thought, I'm going to go to Vegas and see these shows. So if something seems a little interesting to you, give it a try. I mean, you're on vacation. But yeah, there's just an extraordinary number of options. Check out places like Vegas.com, or just do a search for performers in Vegas, and you'll be surprised at some of the big names appearing there. All right, well, we're going to wrap this up, and that's going to wrap up our 6-part Vegas 101 series. I hope that it's been helpful to some of you, provided you with some good information. I know many of the viewers of this program are longtime viewers and also have their own thoughts on Las Vegas and Las Vegas entertainment. So if you do, please feel free to leave some of your own suggestions and tips in the show comments below. Those of you who are checking this out, who are first-time visitors, if it's been helpful to you, share it. Let your friends and family know that we're providing some good entertainment and information here on the Vegas Tips and Tricks channel. Please consider liking, commenting, and especially hit that subscribe button. It really helps us out here, just as we hope that we've helped you out over these past 6 weeks. We'll be back again next week with another episode of Vegas Weekly, where we talk news and rumors and more about Las Vegas. And we hope that you'll continue to join us here on the channel. And until then, I hope that you have a great, lucky, and healthy week. See you all again real soon. Bye-bye.